Whether it's the Mar-a-Lago raid or the Unselect Committee hoax, the perfect Georgia phone call, it was absolutely perfect, or the Stormy Horseface Daniels extortion plot, they're all sick, and it's fake news.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about President Donald Trump potentially being arrested in New York, Manhattan, as a result of the whole Stormy Daniels hush money plot. Now, this is really ridiculous. You have an overzealous, overambitious DA, Alvin Bragg, trying to get Trump on something when in reality, there's nothing. Let's talk about what's going on here. Then we get to some news videos. Then we get to a response from Trump himself. Now, remember a few years ago, the allegation was that Trump had an affair with Stormy Daniels while he was married and still married to his wife, Melania. As a result of the affair, he allegedly paid her some hush money to keep quiet. Now, the way the hush money was allegedly paid is the issue. There's two things here. First is that the money was hidden through his taxes, and that right there is a misdemeanor in New York. That shouldn't be enough to get you indicted, handcuffed, brought down to the station, perp walk. That should not be enough for that. But the second part is that they're saying this could be a campaign finance violation because of the way that the payment was doled out. Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, then already pled guilty to his part in that particular plot to pay Stormy Daniels off. And he says that Trump did do this. And I think Michael Cohen was the one that allegedly paid her the money, and Trump's companies allegedly reimbursed him. So that whole complex web is what we have right now. If they're able to prove the campaign finance violation, that'd be enough for a felony, and that'd be enough to potentially get him arrested and sent to the penitentiary. Now, people do these kind of things all the time, and nobody goes to the clink for it. At best, there's a fine. At best, a lot of times it gets swept under the rug and nobody cares. And before I go any further, let's get into some news clips. First, we're going to hear from Fox. Then we're going to hear from Trump himself. And this clip here will give you a little bit more insight as to how this whole thing may play out, meaning the arrest and whatnot. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
We are learning that the Manhattan DA's office has asked for a meeting with law enforcement ahead of a potential Trump indictment. This is coming to Fox News from a source in the courts. The meeting, which was requested yesterday and has not been set yet, is to discuss logistics for sometime next week, which would mean that they are anticipating an indictment next week. The same source who's familiar with the planning said they will go over security preparations in and around the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Secret Service will take the lead in what they will allow or will not allow. The source cautioned, mentioning, for instance, that the decision to handcuff the president, a former president, or not, they will set the tone and will escort him into the courtroom.
Now, let's pause right here. I don't know what the actual plan from Alvin Bragg is or Manhattan. I don't understand what their plan is. Is their plan to really try to get Trump on some kind of crime they say he committed? Is the plan to really seek justice? Or is it just to taint him so potential voters will not vote for him in 2024? Is that the plan? Because if the plan is to taint him, I'm not sure this will do it. I think if anything, this will really galvanize the base, rally the base, and they're willing to vote for him even more, because obviously we got a witch hunt going on. You may not like Trump. You may not like his policies. You may not like anything about him. It doesn't matter. But you've got to see this as a witch hunt, because one more thing I failed to mention, the statute of limitations for crimes in the city, like New York, like this kind of stuff, this little random ticky-tack campaign violent, it's like 2 years. This happened allegedly 7 years ago. So we're way beyond the statute of limitations. They're really reaching to try to get a felony charge here, and they're going to try to do a perp walk with the former president. They're just doing way too much. And all it's going to do at the end of the day, as I said, is galvanize the base. It will not really turn them off.
There will be coordination between all of us, the source said, but we will defer to the Secret Service. The battle will be between Secret Service and DA Alvin Bragg. They will decide how and when he'll get into the building, and they are not going to leave him. The source believes that the former president will still have to be fingerprinted and processed like every other defendant.
Oh, my goodness.
So this is a huge development if Alvin Bragg has decided to go ahead with a felony indictment of the former president.
So there's more to that. I'll link to that in the box. But let's go ahead and play this here. Okay. This is kind of a response. I'm not quite sure when this was recorded, when it was put out. But this is Trump, in his own words, responding to all this stuff. Because remember, it's not just this what's going on right here in New York with Stormy Daniels. There's also the issue of the Fulton County DA, Fonnie Willis, trying to get him locked up because of the election interference down there in Georgia. Let's check it out.
These 4 horrible, radical left Democrat investigations of your all-time favorite president, me, is just a continuation of the most disgusting witch hunt in the history of our country. It's gone on forever with Russia, 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 and Ukraine, 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 and the Mueller hoax. It's an absolute disgrace what's going on. They even spied on my campaign. And remember this.
They did.
With all of the work that they did on Mueller, no collusion. That's what the answer was all no collusion. Whether it's the Mar-a-Lago raid or the Unselect Committee hoax, the perfect Georgia phone call, it was absolutely perfect, or the Stormy Horseface Daniels extortion plot, they're all sick, and it's fake news. Our enemies are desperate to stop us because they know that we are the only ones who can stop them, and they know it very strongly, and they're looking at the polls where not me, but we are up by so much. They can't even believe it. We won twice, and now we've got to win a third time. They know that we can defeat them. They know that we will defeat them. But they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I'm just standing in their way, and I always will stand in their way. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. You know, there's more from Trump here. He was on Truth Social, and he wrote some things down. Let me see if I can read some of this right here. I'll just read this part, the part 2, which is the most important. But again, I'll link to everything right here in the description. It says, now illegal leaks from a corrupt and highly political Manhattan District Attorney's office, which has allowed new records to be set, and violent crime and whose leader is funded by George Soros, indicate that with no crime being able to be proven, and based on an old and fully debunked by numerous other prosecutors fairy tale, the far and away leading Republican candidate and former president of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest, take our nation back. Now, that part right there, the protest part, that is going to be an issue because here's what's going to happen. Let me come back so you can see me clearly. If there's any issues at all in Manhattan on Tuesday, they're going to say it's Trump's fault. Oh, he called for it. It's just like January 6th, all this, that, and the third. So even if not for the word protest, you got to have everybody on the same page. Secret Service, local NYPD, National Guard. Everyone must be on the same page to make this whole thing go smoothly. It shouldn't even be happening, Alvin Bragg, Manhattan DA office. It shouldn't even be happening, but it is. And it may also be the same case down in Georgia. This is no more than an attempt to try and keep Trump out of the office again in 2024. But this may have the exact opposite effect. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's going on here with this investigation from Alvin Bragg and also the one down in Georgia, Fonnie Willis? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys should know where I'm at. This whole thing is bogus. It's an attempt to try and keep Trump out of the office again in 2024. But as I said, it may have the exact opposite effect. So I have to ask these people, what is your objective? Do you think this will keep Trump out of the way? Is that what you think? Because I don't think that's really going to be what happens. Are you trying to make a name for yourself? Are you trying to ascend yourself to a higher place? Fonnie Willis, are you trying to be next Kamala Harris? Alvin Bragg, were you trying to be the governor? You trying to be the mayor? What is the actual purpose behind this stuff? Stormy Daniels, really? Hush money? Is that what we are trying to hang our hats on? You trying to get a former president locked up on a felony charge for hush money? Really? For a consensual relationship? Is that what we're going to do? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.